Hi, my name is Karen Kluglein. I'm so excited about my new Winsor Newton Botanical Watercolor set. I used the set to paint this Phalaenopsis orchid. Here are the colors that I used: Winsor Lemon, Permanent Rose, Permanent Sap Green, Manganese Blue Hue, and Winsor Violet. I also used a Winsor Newton Series 7 brush in a size 1. Let's see the step-by-step to make this painting. First, I'm going to paint the leaves of the orchid. I start out with Sap Green, Manganese Blue Hue, and Winsor Lemon. I always begin by blocking in different shades of color in different areas depending on what colors I see where. Darker colors are placed in shadows and lighter shades in highlights. I don't usually go over an entire leaf with one color. For example, even though a leaf may appear green, I don't apply one green shade over the entire leaf, because I feel that would flatten the leaf as well as be less interesting. In working this way, one small section is able to dry while I'm applying paint in another section. It is important that each section is dry so that I'm not lifting color or moving it around, but instead adding layers and building up values. By adding in Winsor Violet and Permanent Rose to Sap Green, I can make a darker green shadow color. I often make my brush strokes go in the direction of the growth of the plant. A little hint of Permanent Rose in the mix makes the leaf look more realistic and less flat. Paint is applied in many layers over a long period of time. I continually build up value to bring out the shape of the leaf, noticing highlights and shadows. Once the values are correct, more detail is added. Sometimes while making adjustments, I may blot with a paper towel. This is done to lift color out. I usually try to turn my paper so that I'm making vertical brushstrokes, which feels more natural. Once again, I block in different colors in different areas. I also delineate any prominent veining. This process is done over and over with each leaf, and it takes many hours. As you can tell, I'm not using wet washes of color that blend together on the paper like many watercolorists do. This is much more controlled and is like drawing with the paint. As we are using less water, this technique is called dry brush, though this dry brush technique is not the same as what we might think of Andrew Wyeth's dry brush, where the paint skips over his paper's rough surface. The surface I'm working on is smooth, and the resulting appearance is very different. The stems have a lot of red in them, so I'm adding Permanent Rose into the green. For the orchid petals, I'm using Sap Green, Winsor Lemon, and Manganese Blue Hue. I block in colors in different areas and draw with the paint to mimic the texture of the petals. For the center of the orchid, I'm using a combination of Permanent Rose, Winsor Lemon, and Winsor Violet. I draw with the tip of the Series 7 brush. What I love about these brushes is that they have a great point and hold a lot of paint, so you can apply the paint for a long time. Everything is done in a very precise and controlled manner. This method of mapping color in different areas, building up values, and adding detail is repeated on each flower until the painting is completed. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed learning about the painting techniques and my botanical watercolor set.